Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. We are back in the world of Middle-earth. It's been a while since we were last here. This is Arageld. I'm here then with my Loremaster Rinthalon, right here. Made it finally to the North Downs. And it is awfully and eerily quiet here. I'm quite surprised. There's absolutely no music when you get in here. Not entirely sure why that's the case, but all right, so be it. But we left off here with the quest, The Voice Upon the Air. If you would remember, so again, we're in the North Downs here. And we came up here through Trestle Bridge, did then some quests here in the Greenway, and now we're going over into the fields of Fornost. If I remember correctly, it should then essentially, I think they streamlined this at some point because it really nicely carries you all the way around here, do some quests there, do some quests up here, sends you up to this area, then all the way down here. And then effectively, by the time you reach Estelden, you've got the quest deed finished. And so you can continue to play essentially over this area. This is then all group content. Whoops, should maybe check where I'm going. This is all group content, or if you're really overpowered, then you can do that. But we'll probably just play till Estelden, and then we'll essentially see how we feel afterwards. But that's still quite a ways away. So we are now trying to find the source of the unsettling song. I have a feeling she might be the source. Protect yourself, all right. Then we will make sure to do that. So here we are again. We decided to play at the end of the last stream, or roughly the end of the last stream, I wonder if, okay, she was just being haunted. We changed to the pet class. We're gonna try, you know what, I think we're just gonna try it out the whole stream. I don't know if it's a class that I like, or rather, I don't know if it's the spec that I like. The reason that we had actually even considered going back or switching specs, we started here in the red one. This is very much mage-like, and the reason I switched was I felt it was too close to how the I'm gonna turn the ambient sound up. There, now we can hear that more. How the Runekeeper played, and so I wanted to make it a little bit more distinct, so we changed to the blue spec. So we'll see how that goes. Now this looks like it's a club. I even thought it was a javelin. All right. So for those of you who are just joining us for the first time, again, my name's Arageld, and this is a leveling stream. We're essentially going through all of Middle-earth, or as much of it as we would like. We're gonna go back and forth between this account or this character, and also perhaps my main, which is a warden. But for now, we're just going through the beginner areas of Lord of the Rings Online. And so we don't actually read through the text quests. I haven't essentially gotten any specific requests to then say, yes, please do go through read through all of the quest text. But of course, if that is something that you would like to see, all you need to do is let me know in the chat, and I am more than happy to do so. We can get this now. And so, but otherwise, for most of these, we're just going to essentially accept the quest and do them, move from quest hub to quest hub. Now, if I remember correctly, so I first of all need to do one, and then this is my big light. Oh, wasn't this my lightning? Wizard Spark. It must have missed. Okay, so we can then get these. No, I'm just used to running so much faster on my warden that I keep thinking, am I running slowly or something? And I guess technically, yes, I am running more slowly compared to what I'm used to, but it's still not bad. Now the strange thing is, why a basic sigil which shocks your foe? I could have sworn maybe, I mean, I may just be confusing it within the blue line, because this definitely has not been a big shock. It used to be a huge lightning bolt that came down. But again, that might just be the red line only. Whereas this, in the blue line, it applies a shock, maybe just as a shock dot, but nothing massive like in the red line where literally a giant lightning bolt comes down from the heavens. It's also quite interesting that it's so quiet here, like I said. I have, that's why I essentially went back to the settings to double check. I do have all of the music and everything on. I'm gonna triple check. Yeah, I've got the music here, and I've got it essentially set where it needs to. So I'm not sure why it's being so quiet. We've at least got some ambient noise here. Particularly, I could imagine it's particularly quiet over here because this is also a very, it's supposed to be a very spooky area, very atmospheric. And so maybe they just decided, no, we're not even going to put any music here. That is one of the downsides of the more advanced areas. So I would say essentially from level 120, maybe even 110 up, is that there is constantly music playing. So it's on an infinite loop, which if the music is really nice, that's fantastic. It's nice to listen to. But for those inevitable songs where it's either very repetitive or, you just don't gel with the song, it gets so annoying. And so that's then an instance where you essentially just have to say, okay, well, I'm just going to turn off the music. For something like that, I can understand. I think this is the 1 minute cooldown, right? And then this is that essentially reduces incoming damage. I actually don't know why, now that I think of it. All right, there we go, ding. I don't actually know why. Okay, no, that's all set. All right. Oh, the question is, where did we leave off? We've got so many skills that we actually need to get. So it doesn't seem like we take enough. A herb enjoyed by your pets, restoring morale and curing harmful conditions. It doesn't seem like, right, they die essentially so quickly that I think eventually they'll need something like that. What are these? Loyalty. Upon receiving a critical hit, your pet will sacrifice 5% to heal 5% of your max morale. Okay. But that's then essentially for me. I think I was doing this where I was raising our morale. So it essentially raises both the pet's morale and also my morale. Oh, I have to call them again. All right, so we've got 2, so we definitely want to do that here, this AoE. All right, one of those down. Now, I did want to use the rest of these perks because it's certainly been a while. I think it's been, about a week, I want to say, since we last played this character. It's kind of just been chilling out there at the camp. So I hope you guys are all excited to get back into this and see how far we're able to get today. I would like to be able to certainly finish this area, if anything, just because it's depressing. But if I remember correctly, and in fact, I would probably argue I'm doing this wrong, I'm not MMOing correctly. What I mean by that is we have these quests here. This is the main one. It will vector us over there and such. And then essentially we got those 2 other quests where we had to kill the bar guest, we had to kill then the Oathbreakers. Those were add-on quests. What we should have actually been doing is progressing this main quest while we also kill these guys on the side. Again, that's if we want to be super, yeah, I need to go touch that altar. If we want to be super efficient, I don't really mind not playing entirely efficient. That's part of the fun. It's essentially just going with the flow and spontaneously making decisions of how we want to do certain parts of the gameplay. But yeah, an efficient player would say, I did that wrong, but that's okay. We don't always have to be efficient. We are, after all, playing a video game. I feel like we have to be efficient in our day-to-day life, or at least work imposes that kind of efficiency on us in our day-to-day life anyway, whether we like it or not. And so it's nice to have the freedom to just choose, well, you know what, I want to be consciously ineffective or inefficient here. Essentially take my time, smell the roses, and just essentially see where the road takes us. Because I don't know how everyone is, but I know I certainly am very much like that, where I like to be very organized, kind of know how things are gonna go down schedule-wise, and at least in terms of, in terms of my day-to-day routine, when it comes to work and such. I think part of that also bleeds over to gaming, which is why I really like which I would definitely say, which is why I like MMOs, because they're kind of a checklist type of gameplay loop, right? Be it achievements, be it quests, what have you. Oh, this pulled a lot. So why are you not attacking now? It says you're, Anyway, so because I have that kind of schedule in my personal life, so to say, it's nice to break it a little bit, but it's also nice to reinforce that even more so a little bit in my own type of daily schedule, my daily rhythm. All right, so what is it that we've got some of these graves explored. We've got a couple more. We've got half of those. I still haven't found any of these deathly lights. That makes me think actually that the deathly lights they're kind of mob, if I recall correctly. Oh, okay, so this is quite nice. I like this. So this game doesn't do this very often, and it will do it. Some expansions have it more, some don't have it at all, and in fact, I would say the most recent expansions don't really have this either, where you'll just essentially be out exploring, and while you explore, see, this is what I meant. I think this is the light that we were essentially trying to look for. And while you explore, that will then unlock certain quests. So I think it incentivizes a little bit more just the exploratory nature behind MMOs. I will, however, also say I would understand why they cut back a little bit on that, just because it essentially requires you as a player to go in a very specific part of the game. And if you miss it, then you might miss that one quest which essentially opens up to a lot of other ones. Or maybe you just have one more quest to complete in your deed or in your achievement or what have you. And you think, why is it that I could have sworn I've completed absolutely everything, and it's just because you missed essentially a specific area, which can just be a couple of pixels, and so that can be really aggravating. That can really just take the fun out of the playing. Again, particularly if you're a little bit more more interested in that, or if you lean a little bit more towards that checklist gameplay mindset, again, which I definitely do. At least with my first character, or at least with I guess it doesn't have to be my first character, but at least with a main character, the one that I'm thinking, okay, this is likely going to be or become my main, then I like to try to complete as much as I can. And in subsequent, so essentially any type of gameplay afterwards, if I end up leveling another tune, which this is now my 4th one on this account, at least on Meriadoc here. If I then decide to level up another character, things that I found particularly fun and that I particularly enjoyed, I will certainly repeat. But for the most part, I'll essentially end up skipping over things just because a lot of times the things that we went through the first time weren't necessarily as fun the first time anyway, but you were just doing it to say that you've done it. But that's why we'll see essentially what we're going to do then with this Loremaster, because I really don't see this Loremaster as being a completionist. I don't want it to be either necessarily. I mean, I say that now. If it ends up being that way, right, where we essentially go through as many zones as possible and complete as much of the content as possible, at least starting with more of the solo content. If we get into group content later, fine. But at least certainly starting just with the solo content now. I mean, there is really plenty to do anyway. I mean, even if we were to go through, I play my warden quite religiously, and my warden is still not at the level cap. Now, I would say I've leveled him from 1 to he's almost at the level cap. He only has essentially 1.5 more levels, and I've been playing him essentially for a good, I want to say 3 or 4 months. And again, I play quite religiously, almost every morning. Certainly not every morning, but a lot of the mornings, I would say. I'm just going to clear these before we pull that guy. Just in preparation, kind of just of what happened last time. Oops, didn't mean to use that. Oh, right, we'll pull him, yes. Please attack us, good. You can heal us, good. But so, yeah, I mean, it took a good 3-4 months to level my warden, again, who I've been playing quite religiously. Then it's going to take a long time for us to get this character up. Like I said, the first, I mentioned this in a previous stream, the first milestone anyway is just to get to Moria, right? And just like any MMO, it's always good to look at, particularly if then expansions are still, you're meant to essentially play them one after another, as opposed to a lot of expansions nowadays, or MMOs nowadays, where you can jump all over and you don't have to do things in a specific order necessarily. But it's good to just look at then these expansions as, okay, here's one milestone, here's another milestone. I really did not need to use Cracked Earth on this one guy, but whatever. Particularly in a game like this that has 150 levels of content, and then it's not going to happen until later this year, but they're coming out with an expansion and are going to raise the level cap to 160. Right, it's best to break things down into more sizable chunks because otherwise it's just going to become way too overwhelming. And I think just kind of the mental, just kind of imagining, oh my goodness, how much content do I still have to go I've been playing so long. I mean, even if it's really enjoyable, you can still kind of have a kind of burnout, I would say, before even having explored all of the content. So we don't want that. We're here to essentially enjoy it and play what we want and play how we want it. I mentioned last time that particularly here within the virtue system, oh, which look, we can get our 5th one. I think that's their fidelity. Fidelity's missing. But I do not want to be earning that. I want to be earning wisdom, yes. Yeah, I've mentioned this a number of times. For those of you who are new to the game, right, this virtue system has been overhauled. I mean, it was overhauled a while ago now. But essentially you had to, well, the way that it still works is you have to complete deeds, and that gives you then virtue XP. Though there are other ways to earn virtue XP nowadays, most easily outside of questing than through missions. Okay, that's right. He's going to take us then over here, right? Yes. And one experiment, the first character that I got to level cap, oh, hello, mobs. I wonder why. Yeah, we need to essentially get up there. So I do have to remind myself I'm not playing on my warden. And I can't just pull like 10 mobs and pull and down them all. And I don't know how I don't know how AoE friendly this class is. I don't think it is, because I mean this guy certainly cannot hold the attention of everyone. That's funny. So essentially he wants me to go to North Downs now that I'm 24, but I'm already here. Anyway, I essentially conducted an experiment, an unofficial experiment with my warden to see how important are virtues. Now, virtues certainly are important, particularly if you want to do instances, and then if you want to do really, really difficult raiding content, you definitely need to have all 5 virtues leveled at a minimum, more if you're doing really difficult content, right? To get then essentially the passive bonuses. But it is a huge grind. And so I did not want to do that. And so on my warden, I didn't, where I selected, just like I've done here, I've selected them and I've picked essentially 2. These 2 are the main ones that I'm going to level, I believe, maybe even, yeah. But my goal is to keep wisdom at or close to cap as much as I can. And essentially experience has shown me so far that that is very possible. I'm not going out of my way whatsoever to level my virtues. I will do then the weekly mission quest, just because you can also get XP buffs, and you get a lot of helpful things in addition to the virtue experience. So I definitely recommend doing the weekly missions quest, where you have to do 15 missions. But I've just been doing that, and that is it. And so I'm not going to essentially try to deed everything out just to grind the virtue. There, I would rather than spend my time, playing normally, and then once I get through what I want to play, there are plenty of other games that I would like to continue to stream with everyone, that I'd like to introduce and explore with everyone. So we'll have plenty of time to do a lot of other things. So the one thing I've noticed about this class is it's quite, who's attacking me? Oh, that dude. It's quite button heavy, meaning because that's a very short cooldown, instant, very short, instant. It's essentially like if I have a mob here, Okay, I'm gonna have to kill her probably. Yeah. Oh, or these. It's essentially use skill, use pet skill, use skill, use pet skill. Now why? Sometimes, okay, there it went. But sometimes the pet skills aren't working. Okay, she's dead. Wow, we killed her before we killed this normal mob. I should. One thing that, I mean, again, depending on how solo friendly the Loremaster class is, which I know the red spec certainly is. Oh, we leveled up, but we didn't get any points. That's unfortunate. Any class points. I know that the red spec is very solo friendly. I mean, effectively all classes are, if I'm being honest. There are just varying degrees of solo friendliness. Again, Warden is like king of solo friendliness almost, I would say. Maybe there are other classes that are better. I'm sure many of you could dispute that claim or tell me otherwise. Okay, that's all set. Then we need to just go back. Cool. But yeah, depending on how solo friendly the blue line is, we'll either stay in the blue line, or if I feel like, okay, I'd like to switch things up a bit, or maybe just the blue line isn't my cup of tea. That is one thing I don't want to, even though the blue line now thematically feels very different from the red one, and therefore the RK, the rune keeper. If I'm not having fun playing then the blue line, then I am gonna switch things up. So we'll see. All right, yeah, we're definitely, oh, that's good, at least we're getting some armor. We're definitely in that early game where most of the armor, or most of the rewards, rather, that's over here, right? Yeah. Most of the rewards here from the quests are really bad. I said that a bit too quickly. I wouldn't necessarily say that they're really bad, but yeah, music. Finally, I was waiting for this. Although, I wonder if it's too loud now. I'll just go down a little bit, just to make sure. I do want you to be able to hear it a bit in the background, but obviously I don't want it to overpower everything else. Oh, where am I going? Yeah, we need to go up to that one. All right. Yikes. I need to do some inventory management. I've got that. I think I will do that. I'm gonna go turn in this destination, just because we'll get a little bit of XP. That will actually be an interesting test to see, because we've got how much? We need 19,488. Oh yeah, duh, it's right there. 5,662 is what we've got right now. Right, so let's get this stable master. And I didn't unlock Trestle Bridge. That's kind of sad. There is a trick that you can do. So what we can, I'll show you essentially. So let's say that you are just starting. We're obviously going to come back here. Let's say you're just starting. You finished Heir to the Wind, or you finished the starting point, and you end up in Bree. A lot of times they'll essentially send you to Bree at some point. That'll be one of the beginning parts. You can then get this skill to come to Lalia's Market. Definitely recommend doing that. You have to spend 3 mithril coins. So you do have to have mithril coins to get it, but as you saw there, you get a free teleport. Well, it's not free because you have to pay the mithril coins, but you get a teleport to Bree. Then what we're gonna do is gonna go down here to the far-reaching stable. All right, so we're here still during the anniversary event, and this is a main city, and this is an RP server, Myriadoc, so a lot of RP events happen here. So things might be stuttering quite a bit. But we go down here, we go to a stable master, and then we can see all of these different far-reaching stables, and there should be, if it's not here, exactly, right here we've got Trestle Bridge. And it's an instant cast, essentially, or an instant teleport. So I probably, the first time I came to the North Downs, I probably did the same thing. There's this mission recruiter stable master, but there's actually also a stable master here, just up over this way. Yeah, and as you can see, I did not have it. Now, the unfortunate thing is, I don't know why. I really don't know why they haven't updated these. They really should. There's no reason. There's no reason not to, I would say. But to Westbury, there's no instant, so no swift travel. Despite the fact that Westbury is all the way down there, so you have to walk, or you have to run slowly. Yeah, like I said, I don't know why they haven't updated that. Okay, we're just going to turn this in. Let's see, so 5662. Oh. Well, you don't even get any XP. That is sad, but good to know. It's just meant to serve as a vector quest anyway. Well, and even then I wouldn't say it's a vector quest because it's just a destination. So you have to reach a certain level requirement, and then the quest is auto bestowed, as you saw. So we'll go up here. So that was everything in, well, I guess technically we are now doing this part of Fields of Fornost. Fornost up here is all group. So there are 4 or 5 instances up there. So we've completed essentially this side. We're gonna go and complete this area. And yeah, and then we're essentially all the way done with the Fornost area of the North Downs. So as you can see, it goes quite quickly. The first number of times that I played this area, either I got things completely wrong and just kind of ran all over the place. I'm sure I also picked up some of the quests for Wathrin or Wathrin. That's also, so this is a group area, but it's not instance, it's overworld. This is a group area, not instance overworld. This is a group area. It is instanced. So I wouldn't be surprised if I kind of jumped all over and didn't realize where I should go. Now, here is a quest bulletin board. I know I've got... Oh, I should use that. I don't need that. I should put that up in my house. So we've got 50 broken hatchets. No. What about these? Wet furs? No. So that's the kind of annoying thing about these. Wood spears. Here we go. So if you do 10 of these, then you get a universal optional crafting ingredient. This is good then, obviously, for crafting. And you're gonna get enough of these task items anyway. Now I've only got 8. I need 1 with 1. Are there worn? Tough sword shields? Maybe? Worn? Blackened? If you can see in the quest that essentially the pop-up in the red, it does say where you can turn that in. Breland Lowlands. North Downs. Right, dim dust piles. There we go, good. Right, so you can only do 5 of those a day. You can increase it, I would not. You do not need to do this. That's a huge waste. But you can see deep bestowed. If you do, I think, yeah, you have to do 100, and then you are able to do 6 a day, and essentially you can do that such that I think you end up having to do 1,000. So once you've done 1,000 of these, then you can do up to 10 a day. Right, but that's obviously very long term. I need to sell a lot of these things. Now, what I don't want to sell, though, is these crafting mats, because I am going to eventually level some crafters, but just not yet. All right, the anniversary gift box I do not need because that just has fireworks. I don't care. I do want to make sure that I didn't accidentally... Yeah, I think these are all things that, from our previous stream, and I didn't actually go through and get rid of it all. All right, that's fine. So we'll essentially go through and double check these things. This is another thing. So whenever there are these events and they have like map to Bree or map to wherever, it's always worth keeping these because they're just an instant teleport. So not to necessarily keep it for the quest or anything, like for the anniversary quest or for the event quests or whatever. You certainly can and should use them for that. But if you just need a quick teleport, then they're easy to keep on your person. No, we don't need that. No. All right, good. So that should help considerably. I don't really need, I'm gonna just put this in my shared storage, which I'm sure this is gonna fill up pretty quickly. You can see a lot of these sealed traceries and such. Oh, I need to, those are bound to account. Okay, good. I do need to get, well, so that one's level 45, yeah. So for these ones where I need to open them at 45, that's pretty easy. Just to clear out some space here. I would like as much of the content that's actually in my shared space to be crafting materials, because you can see I've certainly got a lot. I don't think that though, I mean, the idea is to have enough crafting materials for each tier, but that'll take a while. Okay, we need to talk to Amarian. Here we are, to this area, and now kill some dudes, which are over there. Some tough boar meat. That's right, we have to go up this way. So there are a couple of quests that will take us through here. We have to make some, I do think it actually, I can't quite remember. So not bear meat, but boar meat. I seem to remember that the quests over essentially in this area also stay in that area, but we'll have to see. But they also mainly, exactly, they revolve around this. I think I actually just went past it. Oh no, here it is. Yep, so here's another one where you walk to the area. What happened to my pet actually? You walk to the area and it auto bestows the quests. So I think, I mean, obviously the DPS is going to be a lot lower because I pulled out Sir Barrington. Welcome to the chat, by the way. So Sir Barrington is here. And so it's helpful for him drawing aggro, but then my DPS is gonna tank. Or maybe not tank, but certainly not gonna be as good. Yeah, that's where it is. That's where that guy is. So here's now the question. Okay, he's gonna disappear, so fine, we can pull another one. With the tank pet, that is, yeah, seems to be doing a decent job, I would say. All right, defeat you. Yes, hello. Do my 1 minute cooldown on the tank. Or on the enemy. You can heal us just to be safe. Ah, it seems I actually stunned him. Yeah, you can definitely tell the difference. You can definitely tell the difference in the DPS. That's right, Sir Barrington for the win. I mean, it is good in that he's gonna be able to tank quite a few things. We should maybe test that. I do kind of want to see how many enemies Sir Barrington can actually take. And then also keep the aggro off of me. Because I'm super weak. So as you can see, he's kind of running all over the place. And therefore not actually keeping the aggro off of me. So that's a bit unfortunate. We don't want that. Yikes. I thought I had put a dot on that dude, because I know that they disappeared. Sir Barrington, I love you, but you're supposed to grab all of the aggro, not just one. He certainly looks angry. He doesn't look very happy. I don't look very happy either. Maybe just from far away, I look a little bit. It could also just be the atmosphere or the surroundings here. Oh, I think I have to interact with this thing. All right, yes, talk to you, and then defend, of course. And put the dot, and put this thing, and interrupt, and go. I mean, alternatively, I could... Essentially, I still have these two pets that I have yet to unlock. So I could technically also unlock those, see how they are. Because I have zero idea. I've also not read any guides, kind of intentionally, just because of there should be something here. Yeah, told ya. And yeah, I've just intentionally not read any guides because you don't really need guides for overland content in this game. Okay, so he's gonna burn, that's fine. Yeah, sometimes when I click these skills, it says like that's not a personal skill, you have to have a pet or something like that. There seems to be some disconnect a little bit with the skills here and there, or maybe I'm just doing something in the wrong order. That could very well be. All right, yeah, so he's now, exactly, I essentially have to go back, find the heirloom. You can get a shield that is a tiny shield. That's more like a piece of, I don't know, like a plank. I mean, I guess it is technically a shield, but gosh, I would not necessarily want, well, I guess I was gonna say I wouldn't necessarily want that. On the other hand, if it was a choice between that shield and no shield at all, okay, I guess I would take the shield. But anyway, that makes me miss my warden. I'm definitely gonna have to play warden on this, on a stream at some time, because it's been, I'm almost actually done with the epic quest. So that's then the main quest. I finished the epic quest for Umbar. That was the second to last expansion. And I'm currently playing through the Legacy of Morgoth. I will say my opinion of Umbar in terms of the epic quest, it started off kind of weak. It was one of those things where it's like, oh, come help me. Oh, hello, it's nice to meet you. Can you please go, or rather I should say, oh, hello, we're in Linden. It's such a wonderful place. Can you please go all the way down to Herodwaith, because I think I forgot a grain of sand there. And I would really like that one grain of sand. It must be a specific one. And then once you go there, I want you to go up to Erod Mithrin and explore all of the mountains there. And if my grain of sand becomes cold by the time you come back to Linden, you have to do the whole thing. No, obviously. I'm exaggerating. But there's a lot of running back and forth. And so the beginning is a little bit weak, I would say, but it gets really good and really fast, I would say. Nice, so we got our virtue capped already. So that's what I was saying earlier. Essentially, we want to try to have one virtue at or near cap, like within, as long as it's within 5 levels of the cap or something, that's fine. Because we'll get most of our stats then from this one. That's good. Will is our main one. Tactical Mastery is what we want, because Tactical Mastery is for magic and all that jazz. And then will, by this invariably reaching the cap, it will then go to the second one, which is Honesty. And so it will then, okay, so it'll be more Tactical Mastery, will, and then crit. But anyway, oh, this is the one, exactly. So this one, Colbert the Treasure Hunter, find the Treasure Hunter's camp, do not do. I mean, if you want to complete them all, you can, but you don't need to do that. That just unlocks, it essentially says, oh, go here, so that you can do all these instances, but you can't solo those. So if you want to, obviously for doing then the, oh, well done, Sir Barrington, you actually pulled aggro. You did what you were supposed to do. Oh, and here comes then, of course. But still, he did a good job, I would say. But yeah, I thought half of Ambar, not even half, I'd say a quarter of it was like, meh, it's fine. But then the rest got really good, and so far the legacy of Morgoth is really good, particularly the music. Oh, what did I finish? Oh, I'm known. Okay, reputation change. So I've only got 1.5 chapters left, I want to say, of Legacy of Morgoth, and then we have to wait for the expansion this winter. But I'm really liking it. I saw very disparate opinions on, particularly on Umbar. It definitely seems to be a love-hate, though more people seem to not enjoy Umbar. I will say the one thing that I disliked about Umbar almost across the board, just a couple of exceptions, was the music. And the only reason I have to say that is because you can tell that they used just, yes, bless you, Mr. Barrington. He was angry. He was also angry about the music. You can tell that they just created a lot of tracks with like a MIDI player. And so it sounds very, very like 90s MIDI, but not in a good sense, right? Like, cause for nostalgia reasons, or like you can essentially make that old sound music still sound good. Unfortunately, not in this case. But like I said, there are a couple of really good ones. So it's not like it's all bad. Oh, I think he's been stunned. What is that guy doing? Okay, I was gonna say either he's been stunned or I am currently experiencing lag, but thankfully that was not the case. I think in an instance like this, oops, no, don't pull that one. Now, I think I do have this set such that Mr. Barrington will attack whatever I attack, right? Yes, when enabled, your pet will attack targets that you attack. If I turn that off then, I wonder if that helps with aggro. No, he just doesn't attack at all. Return to defend you or yourself, passive, stay, follow, and then attack, obviously. It might be worth taking this attack and putting it on my skill bar. We'll see. Because yeah, now, like I said, now he's just not attacking at all. Okay, so I definitely have to turn that on. What was this one again? Or bear hug. Your companion throws their bulk at their target, stunning them. That's quite nice. for the stun. Oh, this is an old school kind of quest. You can see we need 8 pieces of boar meat. And we've definitely killed more than 2 so far. But it's one of those old school quests where you have to kill way more enemies than you actually need. So you're essentially at the what is that saying? Not the woe, but you're essentially subject to fate and good drop rates, hopefully. You're at the whim of drop rates is essentially what I was trying to say. But yeah, like I was saying, I have been very pleasantly surprised about the new expansions, or well, the most recent expansions in Umbar. So again, Umbar is all the way here. There's Umbar, right? So there's Gondor. You start in Umbar, you start back in Gondor. You essentially go this way, and then you come all the way to the shield. Actually, you go this way. You go down to the Shield Isles, and then up this way, and then in Herodwaith. And yeah, it's really good, and I'm glad about that, because I was a little bit worried that I would get all the way up there, and it would be really bad, because you never know with expansions, right? Like Elder Scrolls. I'm surprised at how excited I am about this, but I'm happy about it. Right, the new expansion, or at least the new season. They're not calling them expansions, or they didn't even call them expansions, though they were chapters. So whatever you want to call it, whatever moniker you want to give it, the newest expansion is coming out on the 2nd of June, and I am very excited about that, but who knows how it will be. It could very much just be a hit or miss. One thing I have come to learn with not Lord of the Rings, this is Lord of the Rings, with Elder Scrolls Online is the main quest is usually not that great. Or, yeah, exactly. It's usually not that great. It's not necessarily bad. There have certainly been a couple of good ones. Okay, this one I have to be careful because I can't be spotted by a goblin. I don't think that there have been any where I've thought, well, that was absolutely horrible. But there have been a number where I thought, that was fine. And I think there were maybe 2 where I've said, oh, wow, that was really good. So that's a bit unfortunate. But what Elder Scrolls Online does have going for it, don't I have to kill these dudes? Oh, no, Ward. What it does have going for it are the side quests. The side quests there are really good. And I've actually been playing through, okay, that's the Goblin Camp. I need to be careful. I just need to make it right there, don't I? Oh, even actually just done this way. Yeah, there it is. I had never played through the Golden Road, which was the previous expansion. And there's something called scribing, which they unlocked. And that's where you can essentially create new skills. Obviously, it's very limited. It's not that you can just create anything, just because it's an MMO. But pretty sure that bear aggro is just vibe and observe. Yes. That is so true. It is very, I like that. That's a very good point. Just vibe and observe. It's just like, okay, wherever you go, I'll follow. And if you get attacked, I guess I'll attack. But just as only if you start attacking. Otherwise, we'll just run away and ignore it. I like that. That's true. Yeah, you can get Shadowfax in this game, actually. You have to do, or I guess you technically don't get the real Shadowfax, but you get like, yeah, Shadowfax 2.0. You have to do all of the epic quests, so the main story quest, all the way up to and through Angmar. And that takes a long time. It's very, very tedious. but it's cool to do once. I recommend doing it once. Anyway, so in the Gold Road, I don't know if it's the Golden Road or the Gold Road. I think it's Gold Road. I think I might be thinking of the Golden Coast, which is the Thieves Guild. And they introduced the scribing skill, essentially. And in order to unlock all of the scribing components as such, you have to go through a really, really long quest line. And I don't mean that in a bad sense. So you essentially have to unlock these luminaries, which are these ancient, they're godlike. They're not gods, but they're godlike. But they're these, intelligent beings, magical beings. And you have to first of all unlock their memory fragments. And to do that, you have to go throughout all of Tamriel and kind of relive these fables that they've written. And then you have to unlock something else. And so you're going through all of Tamriel, and the story is really good, and the gameplay is really good. And so that's something that I would say Elder Scrolls really excels at, is going through and exploring the world, actually using a lot of the parts of the world that it already has access to, instead of just leaving old content for nothing. I mean, that's usually what happens in MMOs is you develop the content. As soon as it's no longer relevant, then it becomes obsolete, and you pretty much never go there again. That's still the case in a lot of places in Elder Scrolls, but they at least make a concerted effort, I feel, to try to have you go back to previous places. Particularly with the prologue quests, they always take place in a previous part that's been introduced in a previous expansion. But anyway, that's a long story just to say the scribing quests, if you haven't done those, if you haven't unlocked scribing in Elder Scrolls Online, definitely do it, because the story's done really well and it's fun. All right, go Mr. Barrington. Please hold aggro. Oh no. I say that and almost all three of them came running after me. Oh well. It was a good try. I can at least do that again. All right, need to just get a couple more tents. And then we need to go up that way to kill the wargs. I believe that warg one is on a farm. And we have to repair, I think it's something like we have to repair fences. And while that happens, oh, nice. Then wargs come and attack us. Yes, definitely more like blank stare, unfortunately. I think that might sadly be why most people don't play with a bear, because he'll be able to hold aggro on one mob, which is helpful. But if all of the other mobs come to me, and since I'm a light armor class, I'm really squishy. So that's very sad. I'm very sorry, Sir Barrington, but I'm going to dismiss you, and I'm going to get out Bogageddon, because he should help a bit. Even though he can't hold aggro either, at least he helps with DPS. Or so I thought. I should have probably gotten another point, yeah. Okay, what are these? Protective of your pet, you gain a damage buff if your pet is hit by a critical attack. Okay, yeah, we need to increase our damage output a little bit, I feel. We're fine health-wise. Oh no, I forgot. Despawns that. Whenever you level up, or at least whenever you allocate a point. most classes, by the way, so that goblin just threw a net at me. And so I was essentially, I couldn't move. Those goblin nets can sometimes have super long debuffs, like where you have to stand there for like 30 to 40 seconds. Definitely use your, so most, I think most, if not all classes will have this, shake off dazes or stuns or roots. Definitely use that, because otherwise you'll, like I said, you'll just be standing around. Even though the goblin is dead, you'll just be standing around waiting for it to essentially to disappear. Okay, that's why I was thinking. So here you get this quest to repair everything. We've got then some goblins there. I might actually, I am a little bit tempted. Maybe we'll try that. Okay, so I'm pretty sure we just have to, right, yeah, we use this and then it calls then the wargs to come. Right, there's another one. Oh. Oh no, that Warstalker is a wolf. Okay, never mind. Yeah, like I said, I'm tempted to do some missions just to, I don't know, maybe get a level real quick. Oh, okay, I can raise. That's another. Okay, yeah, exactly. That is another cooldown. How much of a cooldown? For about a minute. Damages and stuns your enemy in retribution of their attacks on your companion. Yeah. Okay, good. We got that one done. Then we have to do that one. And as you can tell, we're back to the no music, but kind of creepy somehow. I don't know how that happened. But we are in, I guess we are, yeah, we're out of Breeland, where there was essentially constantly music. Oh, I never realized that actually. You put a piece of meat down and that essentially pulls all the mobs. Huh, that makes sense. All right, 2 more of those done. Yeah, here he comes. So how is everyone's Saturday night going? Oh, here comes some more. Any fun things? Any fun games that people have been checking out? Movies? I checked out, a friend of mine recommended the show called Murderbot on Apple Plus, which I've only seen the first episode, but it was definitely funny. It'll be interesting to see, yeah, how the show actually progresses. Right, you can definitely see early on a lot of directions that the show could go. But otherwise, movie-wise and show-wise, I was watching Good Omens 2, which I definitely recommend. That's funny. If you like the first Good Omens 2 goes essentially along, or it goes in the same direction. But we are finally, see, this is why I like Warden, because you get cool shields like that. Like that is, I'm pretty sure I've got that one. If I don't, actually, I should actually add that to my wardrobe. Yeah, I've already got it there. I figured as such. And it's finally, I think I'm happy about this, but it's finally suddenly feeling like summer here. Got up to pretty much 30, I would say. I think with the humidity index and such, I'm sure we got up to 30. So summer is on its way. sunshine. I'm happy about the sunshine. That's quite nice. I don't know. I'm not too hyped about the heat, but as long as it stays beneath 30, that's fine. It will invariably get hotter than that, but I'll enjoy it while it lasts, essentially. Let's see. Whoops. I should maybe pay attention to where I'm going. So next we're gonna be sent to essentially a camp over here. And there's our music, probably because we came back to Greenway. But it's quite nice. Oop. I was gonna say it's quite nice. You could see all the stars, but then they disappeared. Oh, that's kind of creepy. That's my horse. Oh, nope, never mind. That was my pet. Get out of the way, pet. Because I just wanted to look at the sky's quite nice, particularly with the moon, all the stars. Right, Bagageddon? I don't know why he keeps moving around like that. What's going on? He seems to be freaked out. You are not the prettiest of pets. I have a feeling Bagageddon must be scared if he keeps getting that close to me. Its hands also look really freaky and painful. Raided the fridge boss and battled the laundry golem. Terrible loot drops. Oh. Well, but you're getting some good XP. So that's good at least. But good that you did the Friday fridge rage. Let's see. No, that's definitely not good. That's what I will be doing on Monday, is the Friday fridge. Well, mine will be the Monday fridge raid, rather. Okay, yeah, exactly. This is then where we go talk to Orthon. Onto the Lonely Watcher. Yep, good, as I said there. And essentially once you get here, I want to say once you finish this, you're more than halfway done with the area. Again, it depends on if you end up doing any quests here. We can check our deed log to see. Okay, is this North Downs? Yeah. Right, of glories long past. So again, this is the quest deed. And you can see I only have to do 8 more quests, and then I'm done with the questing deed here. And so once we're done with that, then we're essentially going to move on to the next area, I would say. Which, if I'm being honest, I can't remember. You can go to, not Lonely Mountains, what is it? The Lone Lands. Evandim, I don't think is until much. I don't think this is until level 40 or so. I need to see what's actually next. Let's see, Lotro zones by level. Because, like I said, I forgot actually where that is. Where we go next. Oh no, I misspoke. Evandim is 30 to 40. Okay, so we will go there next, actually. But, like I said, I think I'm gonna, particularly just so I can do the 15 missions, I'll probably do that off stream because it's not really that exciting. Just grinding out then the 15 missions. Doesn't necessarily take very long, but it's quite repetitive. Particularly if you've already done the missions, which I've done them, at least it feels like hundreds of times. So yeah, I'll probably do that off screen just because it will help give us some character boosts, which I guess we don't really need, but still. It'll give us an XP boost. We'll get some virtue XP, and we'll probably get 1 level from it. And that's helpful just to kind of balance out, since we're not 100%ing the zones. If we were really 100%ing the zones, then we wouldn't need to do any of the any missions because we would far out level the zone by the time we finished it. That's with like doing all of the deeds, the Slayer deeds specifically, because you end up having to kill hundreds of mobs. And so, but we're not going to do that, particularly not the Slayer deeds because they are very tedious, very, very tedious. That is essentially something fun to do if, so if you, and again, like if it's your first time playing through the game and or if you tend more towards the completionist side anyway, and it's fun, right? If you find it fun, then definitely do it. But particularly when you're doing Slayer deeds and such, where you just have to kill X number of enemies. And again, it is definitely hundreds, not just like 100. It's hundreds. Obviously, it gets worse and worse the more you go along in the game, right? The higher the level, the worse it becomes, unfortunately. Then a good thing to do in that case is just turn on something on your second monitor. There's a D&D group that I really like to listen to and watch by Dimension 20. If you haven't heard of them, definitely recommend going to watch. Although now that I say that, I don't know if they actually release anything, or if they've been still releasing anything, or if they've stopped. Because I'm currently watching a campaign of theirs that they streamed 2 years ago, I want to say. But really, really funny group of people, and they do it really well. All of them had originally been complete novices. Oh, that's right, the driftwood is down here in the river. Right, so the first season, they were all complete novices, with the exception of the Game Master, the Dungeon Master. He is quite the contrary. He's very experienced, does a fantastic job. And so usually then if I know, okay, I'm going to just do some missions, or if I'm playing on another character and playing through Arid Lewin for the 80,000th time or something, then I'll just put on, I'll put on them, or just essentially something else on the side, just to make the grind a little bit more enjoyable. So that's what I would recommend anyone do, particularly if you're going to go through the Slayer deeds, because it can just be pure tedium. And that's why I generally don't do them anymore. You can get, I don't know if I've got it here. I've certainly got it in my bank. You can use your Lotro points and get deed accelerators, and they're not too expensive. So if you've just been playing and there's no new content that you need to buy or anything, you can get then those deed Slayer accelerators, and that certainly makes things a lot more tolerable, because I think the ones that you can get, they last for 6 hours. So you can get a lot of Slayer deeds done in that time. Ah, that's right. That's the song you can hear in the background whenever it's nighttime out in these older areas. It always, excuse me, it always goes to like this guitar song, which is quite nice. It's inoffensive. All right, we need to kill some wolves and bears. I thought that there was another one, yeah. And then bones from the bone piles. So again, if we're gonna do this, oh, there's a bear. I was gonna say, if we're gonna do this smart, then we set this as the quest guide, and we then just kill these. No, not on the way, actually. Well, but I mean, we will anyway. But these are essentially what we want to get first. I wish I were an Argonian elf, then I could swim a little bit faster. Just kidding. Okay, so it looks like here we've got to kill wargs anyway, because it will start a quest that bestows it. Right, kill some more of them. Oh, although, search the burial mound of Had Eglan. Oh yeah, and defeat wards. Okay, or wargs. And I think the burial, right, it's all the way over. Yeah, it's all the way over there. And I think, yeah, I missed a number. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and get these over here just because I saw them. I don't think they're as densely populated as this map would like to allude to. So it's one of those quests where if you see a mob, then just definitely go ahead and kill it on the way, because you otherwise have to backtrack quite a bit. Right? This, I think, yeah, though the bears also seem to be a case where we have to kill more because not all of them actually drop some fur, which, that's fine, that is what it is. I should also be on the lookout for drops for me, because I can't remember the last time. Well, item level 22, that doesn't mean level 22, but I can definitely start to feel that the mobs are getting stronger, or rather that we're not getting any stronger. It's just taking a little bit longer for the mobs to die. Again, not that it's really long. I think I had said in a previous stream as well that, particularly when it comes to Lord of the Rings, like you don't really, you can essentially view all of this area, and by all of this area I mean everything, exactly all of this, including Angmar, as the tutorial. It's not until you get here to Mordor, Moria, not Mordia, that's when the game starts more, I want to say, just in terms of your class. Because by that point you'll have pretty much a lot of, if not most of, your core class skills. More will certainly unlock as you level, because you can get so many class points that you'll be able to level two trees at once. But by the time you get to Moria, so about level 50, then you pretty much have all of the key skills that you'll need for that class. And so that's why I'm not really too worried or fussed about it yet, about how this class feels yet and how it's going to feel later, because there's still a lot that we have to unlock. I also want to say, I think around it was around the end of the North Downs, so where we are now, I want to say, is when my Warden started to feel a little bit better, because I didn't have all of the skills unlocked. I also didn't have the certain gambits or gambit starters unlocked that would give me 2 at once, and so it's not until that really opens up that the Warden class also opens up. So I can only imagine, at least maybe in the pet, but on the whole as well, I can only imagine that that's the case for the Loremaster too. Okay, we're making good progress. We've got nearly all of the fur. We just need one more, I think. We can also get them from, yeah, good, we got that. We got another bone pile. Oh, I guess this is where all the bone piles were. I mean, there were enough over there. Then we have to investigate the one up there. Get one more warg. And then, yeah, search for the burial mound, I'm sure. Right, which this is the burial mound. And in doing so, I wouldn't be surprised if it spawned a bigger baddie. Who was... Oh, I think he did that right as he died. I will say, one thing... One spell that I really miss from the red line is this lightning one, where that essentially that lightning bolt came down and insta-killed whatever it hit. That's definitely... That was pretty cool. Not very Lord of the Ring, or no, well, it is Lord of the Rings, but not very lore friendly. It's kind of lore friendly. Certainly Loremaster friendly. But like I said, maybe we'll go back and forth. The goal, as I had said, for today was to really stick with here the pet class. We're gonna do that probably for all of North Downs. Maybe we'll kind of go back and forth. If we start today, we'll do North Downs or part of it, and play the pet class as much as possible with North Downs. Then once we go up to Evendim, then we'll go to the red line and go back and forth. Though by the time I get my legendary item, so level 45, at that point I do need to decide what spec I want to go into, just because that can get very expensive if I want to level 2, or if I want to have two legendary items. It's certainly possible. Right, that will take us up there. Yeah, it's certainly possible to have 2 or even 3 legendary items, right? So 1 for each spec. But I think that's a good idea. Essentially, see how things go until Moria, and then when I have to get my legendary item, then I can decide. Although even at the beginning, because you won't have unlocked too much for the legendary items in terms of the slots, I could maybe have 2 at the beginning. And then we'll decide what way we want to go. Okay, so what we're going to do... Oh yeah, so Stelden is over there. That's essentially the Rangers camp. Right, they're essentially responsible for the... Oh man, these... Oh goodness, where was I going? I did not see any of this. This could be tricky. I'm just gonna use some potions just in case. Yeah, because I pulled like everything over here. Gosh. I should also probably use my pet skills. Oh, I could have also used that one to heal me. All right, we survived. Good. So they're essentially the bulwark between Bree and everything, and the Land of Man and Angmar. They're the last line of defense. So I guess technically not the last line of defense, but certainly one of. And since they're the Rangers, they obviously have a special place in lore. But this was certainly a milestone originally when Lord of the Rings first came out, a leveling milestone, that is. As I said, there are a lot of group-only places, Todinen, Dunrathrin, Fornost. So that's essentially 3, one of which is instanced here. So that indicates kind of, this is also kind of the halfway point to what used to be the level cap. All right, we got that, and now we need to get the Lynx furs, and I think there are 2 quests here. Just to start, because at some point we then need to collect flowers or something, but that might also be a quest that we get while we are exploring, I want to say. Yeah, that could be. But I'm going to say that is all for today. We really did quite a lot. So like I said, we started over here in the fields of Fornost. All right, we got all of that done, killed all those undead and such. Went over to the boars, killed some goblins over here, killed some bears and wolves and wargs. Now, essentially, we're going into the, what is the name of the evil elves? I can't remember. But essentially, yeah, this is then the evil, or not the evil elves, sorry, the evil dwarves. And doing some some quests down here. Here we've got more goblins and orcs. Then we go down to the elves in Melwinen and over to some trolls. And by the time we get here, we're essentially done, I would say. So we were really able to get a lot of stuff done today, make some really good progress. We'll honestly be on to Evendim, so the next area before we know it. But thanks everyone for joining tonight. It was a lot of fun as always. Thanks for your input. And as usual, we will see each other in the next leveling stream for our Loremaster. Take care, everyone. Have a good night. See you next time.